Shalom. This is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet and Good Torah. We have Rabbi Mordecai Darvish. Darwish. Oh my gosh, you have to correct me. Cannot do it. Darwish from the gates of Mordecai. We'll be here for 10 minutes, but we're going to get it right. And we have an amazing one for you today. If you're a Jew, stop eating that cheeseburger, man. Stop eating the cheeseburger. We're going to have an interesting we're going to talk about all kinds of current events. We're going to talk about what's going on in the presidential election here. We're going to talk about what's going on, the craziness is going on in Israel, all around the world. And I'm going to try not to speak so yeshivish today. I'm going to try to speak like a normal American person. And if I speak yeshivish, maybe I have to put some tzedakah in the yeshiva jar. We'll see how it goes. I, so you want to jump with any opening comments? You want me to set
Yeah,
something up?
yeah, guys, come on.
Okay.
Like, subscribe, share the videos, get them out there.
Yeah, come on. This is good
Very
stuff.
easy. It's very easy stuff.
Help us out. Like it, share it. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna talk about, so both of us, I personally, I didn't grow up very religious. I went to a modern Orthodox day school, so some people may be like, oh wow, you're really religious. But the truth was our family was more modern, right? So like we went to synagogue on the high holidays. We went for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We had a Passover Seder. But the truth is, I was there for just kindergarten, third, fourth, fifth grade, and I was in public school the rest of the time. Then went to college and university. So I pretty much, I grew up pretty much like everyone else, Gen X, secular guy. And then later,
So
I
talk
had a,
like one.
what? Yeah. And
So
then
talk like one.
and I talked like one. And I had an opportunity, to go. I was living in Los Angeles. I worked in the film industry. My background was at film school. And I got an opportunity to go to Jerusalem. I was working on the screenplay sequel to the movie The Ten Commandments. And then I met Mordecai. We were roommates at Aish Torah in the old city of Jerusalem. So I understand what it's like to have, the typical American secular background. But I also see it now from the perspective of like Hashem is really poking and prodding us from all directions to really wake us up. And that's why all these events are so crazy and everything seems so nuts. Like to give you one example, there was a attempted assassination on President Trump just a few weeks ago. And like most of the news media, it's gone, done. Old news. I mean, in the old days, they'd be talking about that for a long time. It's a big historical event. It could have really thrown this country into complete chaos. They just got rid of like President Biden, just like took him off the ticket. Nope, you're not running. Well, who made that decision? Right? Took him off the ticket, put in Kamala. Kamala's now the new candidate. Got this guy, didn't pick Josh Shapiro, a far superior candidate. He put in this guy Walls or whatever, this socialist putz from Minnesota, wherever he's from. No big deal. Like nothing, like what is it going to take to shake people up in this crazy world right now?
So nothing. Scroll. It's a scroll through generation. It's just scrolling through. You know what I mean? And then the media knows it. Everybody knows it. You just hop on to the next thing. The news cycle never stops. 24-hour news, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that nobody's, really hunkering down on anything. So there's nuance. There's no nuance in anything. It's just a bunch of headlines and bullet points, and that's what you're fighting. That's what you're conversing about.
Yeah, so I've experienced like two worlds. Like a lot of people in the secular world, they're not experiencing going into a base midrash, going into a yeshiva and turning all the electronics off and just getting out like Torah books and sitting there and just learning and speaking about that. And that's not a normal thing. Even in college, I don't remember learning that long. I mean, I'll go in with some friends. Sometimes we had study groups. We read a little from the textbook, prepare for the test.
But the test didn't have a bearing on your life. The test had no, you just spit out the information right back onto the test, and that's it. Like you're not going back and like discussing, ancient philosophies or geometry with your friends at the bar.
Right.
You're talking about the regular day, the regular happenings, and that's
Right.
people. The media knows who they're pandering to. They know who they're catering to. And it's all to sell advertising anyway. So just keep them hooked. The whole thing is
Yeah.
to keep them hooked, and that's like one of the things that the social media apps have done. They've integrated the gambling tactics of the casinos And if you see like the scrolling, right, it's meant to mimic, a slot machine in one of the
Yeah.
casinos, right? The pull down,
Hmm.
drag down, all of a sudden, whoop, and something else comes back up, and it keeps you hooked. It keeps you watching, and that's what they want. They want to keep you hooked, keep you watching, and they have their own agendas.
Yeah. No, it's kind of incredible. Like back in the old days, like back to the 1980s or whatever, if you wanted to, let's say, go to a rock concert, you had to leave. You had to get tickets. Maybe you had to stand in line, play that whole game, stand in a long line, get there early, get a good ticket before it's sold out. You had to do something. You had to go to the record store back when we had records or CDs. You had to go out, get something. You had to go to a movie theater, go to a restaurant, or go to the store. And it's weird that we live in this world right now where a person could really not even leave their house. You could work remote through your computer. You can order all whatever you need from that. You can order it all from Amazon into your house. You have streaming constantly. Any movie really you could even think of, any TV show you can think of, sporting events, international, um, and then video games, just constant, and then right, and then just all the social media content. And a person could spend their whole day, hours and hours and hours. I don't know. I mean, Chas v'shalom, there's probably people that are spending an incredible amount of time just absorbed in all this.
Yeah, that's their life existence has been totally altered. And it's by design. It's by design to keep people like that. You can control them much easier when they're in front of a screen as opposed to when they're outside doing things. You
Yeah.
know, it's a control mechanisms by the people behind the shadows, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. So one thing that's I think really like I think where I'm at politically, I've always been a big political junkie, but I really think for the first time I would really almost say I'm an independent. Like I just or apolitical.
Finally,
No,
finally.
or apolitical. Just like I have days where I just don't care anymore. It's just like so ridiculous and over the top. So I think one thing that really shocked me was I don't know, we'll start with Trump and then we'll go to like Biden, Harris, and all that. I know Donald Trump to me was just like this crazy over the top guy from the 1980s, and the whole yuppie culture, the Gordon Gekko, Wall Street. He was like this over the top guy, as Mr. Casino guy, Mr. New York developer guy. It's like, oh, I'm Trump, I'm Trump. I know he's always like kind of, and like I never really was a big fan of The Apprentice. It wasn't like, my parents are, real into business.
That,
So they
that,
wanted me
that,
to
that,
read.
that's
Yeah.
your view. That's your view. There's
No,
other
no, okay,
views.
no, you can, no, y'all give me your, no, but I'm saying like my parents were really into business, so they wanted me to read Art of the Deal, and I thought it was entertaining. I watched maybe like one or two Apprentice episodes, but it wasn't up there on my favorite TV show. But what shocked me was like on Facebook and just like people I'm talking to, Jewish people that are still like very liberal or in that Democratic camp, just some of them, like the over the top hatred for him was like it's hard. I didn't get it. Like what? Like here, I'll let you can give your impression. Like
No, listen, like the first book I actually read from cover to cover was The Art of the Comeback. I was like, I hated reading, and then all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, there's information in books. I didn't really know that. I thought, growing up in school, they didn't teach you that. They gave you books of stories that had no bearing on your life, and they weren't interesting. So I was more interested in watching movies as opposed to reading a book. And then all of a sudden, I read a book with some information on it, information I can use in my life. I'm like, hey, so that was my first introduction to him, and then started following him, all throughout. He was everywhere. He was on the news. He was being interviewed by 60 Minutes. He was in rap songs. He was just all over the place. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this guy. I aspire to be like this guy. I aspire, the American dream: make as much money as you can and enjoy your life. You know what I mean? And this guy seemingly has it all. So I want to be like that. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the way we grew up. We didn't grow up any
yeah,
other way. So I didn't see anything like that. And then all of a sudden, when he decides to quote unquote run for office, and everybody's just flipping out on his personality, and it's like, okay, like I don't know, are we looking for a candidate that fits the job profile, or are we looking for a saint? And all of a sudden, these people like like they have no morals anyways, right? Or they're made up morals. started saying, "Oh, he's the worst guy in the world, and I hate him, and I can't stand him." And it's like, when did this become a personality contest? A and B, like, what's got you also hot and bothered? Like,
Yeah.
what happened over here? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Here, let me throw this one out because I never really took it from this perspective. But let's say, I mean, he's from New York. It was a time he was a registered Democrat. Let's say he ran as a Democrat. It would be over the top, the love that he would get from the media because he's so good at being like a, a campaigner and a politician. If he came out as a Democrat,
Well,
they would be like, "Oh, this guy's better than Obama.
if
This
he
guy's better than Bill
if
Clinton."
if he was a Democrat with a Democrat message, because you got to remember, like, their whole thing is their message. You
Hmm.
know, it's not like, if he came out with the independent message, he'd be treated like RFK. He'd be treated like just anybody else. You know what I mean? They'd push him to the side very quickly. You know what I mean? They don't want people with the real, ambition. They want people who will toe the party line, and that's what you saw. That's what you keep seeing. Whether it was with Hillary, whether it was with Bernie Sanders, whether it's Kamala or Joe or whatever. They just, if you toe the party line, you're in. If not, forget about it. We're gonna knock you out, no matter how big of a superstar you are.
But no, but think about it. Like the Democrats for a long time, the unions and the blue collar worker, and they were for the poor middle class. And if he came out with that message, you're saying the modern Democratic Party, you couldn't even come out with that message. The quote unquote classic Democratic moderate, or big business Democrat. Like, all right,
Yeah,
so that's possible.
the Democrats is split. There's the elites, the total elites. They don't even interact with the people, and you have they're pandering to the really poor people who just are looking for a government handout and somebody to save them.
Hmm.
Okay, they're not even appealing to the people in the middle.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody who comes in and is talks common sense, business, profit, a balance sheet, goods in versus goods out. Okay, just like, bare bones, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like all of physics operates a certain way, right? There's gravity, there's E equals MC squared, there's a formula to things, right? When someone speaks that, it's sense, right? Nah, we don't want that. We don't want somebody thinking. We don't want somebody to do what's good for the country, because you see that there's an ulterior agenda over here. And that's what I mean. If anybody watches any of our videos, there's a common theme that society is degenerating into total secularism, total, like, the governments run everything, and the powerlessness of the people.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. So it's someone who's going to come up with an original message, like, let's get everybody, everybody's equal, and everybody has a right to, and something to say, and we want the betterment of the whole country. That's not what they want.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, so sticking like with our theme, like so what I keep waiting for is like when like when and maybe there's a little cracks, it's like I'm not saying everyone has to rush over and vote for the Republicans, but like when will whatever this fascination is with the Democrats, and it's more like the Jewish people that aren't so religious, and it seems like the Democrats to them is because they're not like learning as much Torah and doing the mitzvahs, so they have like this hole, and it seems like they're trying to fill in the spirituality with this political party. And it's just so weird to me to watch. And then it's like whatever the party says from week to week, from month to month, it can change. And you got to go along with it. Like I heard, like my friend, his parents grew up in Soviet Union. And he said like there was like these rule books. But if you found a rule book from like, let's say a decade ago, it was illegal to have that rule book because everything in the new rule book completely contradicted what was in the old rule book. When it was in the old rule book 10 years ago, you had to follow it. This is the new rule book, and you got to follow this one, and it's illegal to follow the old rule. And I just keep waiting. Like it seems like every week is more and more outrageous, like what they propose or what they do. And I'm just watching my friends go along with it all. And it's like like I don't know, it's like we saw on October 7th or whatever. I saw some clips, but it seemed like what we saw was Arab terrorists live streaming a Nazi-like massacre, right? And kidnapping all, and we'll switch a little to Israel too after we get through the Democrat. But we saw like these Arab terrorist groups, and then I think it broke a little bit of that, the cuddly, beautiful, underdog Palestinians. Like maybe some of these people aren't so nice. Maybe some of these people are downright evil. Maybe some of these people really hate Jews. And then we've seen the growing, like rioting demonstrations all throughout the world, and they're kind of dropping the mask. It's like Zionism. It's kind of falling away sometimes. The Jew, and like from the river to the sea, people are getting a little more hip. That's like, oh, that means get all the Jews out of there, get all the Jews out of Israel. The whole go back to Poland slogans, and like their anti-Semitism is showing through a little bit. And I'm gonna tell you honestly, it's like the far left and the far right. It's coming from both sides, and I really see both.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Okay,
whoa,
I'm gonna
whoa,
really.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, whoa,
This,
whoa,
this is
yeah.
coming from both sides stuff. That's get it. No, stop, stop, stop.
Okay.
Like Candace Owens, which you don't like, but she says, there's no KKK marches in front of my street. Okay, stop. She grew up black in this country. She wasn't, like the boogeyman. Oh my gosh, the far right is coming to get you. She didn't see any of that growing up. Okay, so to say, oh, it's coming on both sides. No, it's not really coming
Okay.
from both
I
sides.
okay. I
Okay,
agree.
there's
Okay.
little fringe groups that
Okay.
march
Okay.
in the street like somewhere in
Okay.
Alabama. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, fine. But they're not controlling the media. They're not controlling the higher education. They're not controlling government. No, 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 no.
Okay. I look.
This thing that's
Okay.
come
Look.
from both sides.
Okay. Look.
Stop,
I agree.
stop, stop
No.
with that. Stop with
Okay. I
that.
agree. I agree with this. Who is actively trying to hurt and kill Jews right now? It's
It's
coming
the
from the
left.
left.
It's the
It's
left.
coming. It's
That's
coming
it.
from the
That's it.
left. It's
That's it.
coming. Hold on for a second.
Stop. Full
Hold
stop. It's
on
coming from the
for.
left. The right doesn't
Hold,
burn Israeli flags. Okay, the
hold
right
on
doesn't
for.
burn
Hold
Israeli flags
on.
in the middle
Hold
of
on. Okay.
Alabama. Stop.
Hold
Stop.
on.
Hard
Hold on.
stop there.
Okay. But there is elements in the alt-right that are very neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, but
They're not out there. You
they're
don't
not
see
actively
them.
they're not actively
So why even speak about them? Why even give that? Why even give them credence? Why even give credence? It doesn't. You don't
because
even speak
okay,
about them. Speak
okay,
about like what's in our face. What's in your
okay,
face? You go to a campus. You go to a university campus. They're burning Israeli flags. That's not the right. That's not the right. It's never been the right. It's never been the most crazy Nazis on campus, and there are okay. They're not burning Israeli flags and saying kill Whitey, kill the Jew. They're not doing it in public. They may be doing it somewhere in like a party in the middle of the night. Okay, that you're not seeing it, but they're not doing it in your face. So why even speak about it? You know what I mean? Like this
okay.
pandering to the left. The
All right,
left is
hold on.
Nazi. The
Hold
left is
on.
Nazi. Full stop. That's
Okay.
it.
Wow. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So not easy being an independent. My first day of being an independent. No, but it's a halacha yedua Esav Sone Yaakov. I'll tell you where I see it. Just wait. Just wait. I agree with you. They're not actively trying to go and attack Jews right now, but it's there in the background, and it's
Who
starting to.
cares though? But it's not an issue. It's not a current everyday issue. So why even speak about it?
It's
Something
starting
in the
to.
background.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
let it be in the background. Who
All right.
cares?
Hold
Why even?
on.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? You're talking about the morality of people. You're talking about whether people are good or not. You're talking about who to vote for. You're talking about like the issue. Why didn't bring out? Oh yeah, but you have an arsenal that you might pull out one day. Why even speak about that? And that's the calling card of the left. That's what they say. You know what I mean? Oh, but the alt right, oh, the righty, they're crazy. They're Charlottesville. They're oh my gosh. No, that's BS. That's not the majority of this country.
Fine. Okay. Okay.
And
So let.
it's not the media. It's not education.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
government.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic, which you'll be keyed up to talk about. All right. So let's talk about the sham of this whole Kamala Harris. I mean, pandering to Islamic terrorism, the constant appeasement of the Biden administration of Islamic terrorism. I mean, right, this is real. This is, the Biden
Right.
administration sending $100 billion to Iran to finance like a proxy war against Israel. This is real stuff. Jews are getting killed by this, and this is very dangerous, right? So this, right. So we'll talk. Okay, so we'll talk about this side, right? You got in the front of it all. I mean, Kamala Harris is like this cackling nitwit. Like, I mean, it's like I just people are so into the team sport aspect or the religious aspect of political party.
So yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's there's academics that have spent their whole life getting a PhD, and they're honestly with a straight face going to proudly tell you they're going to vote for this very intelligent woman. You know, it's like
Well,
yeah,
again, that's it. It's become a team sport. It's a team sport. My team versus your team, and that's it.
yeah,
And they'll die with that. They'll die with it. And then there's no speaking to these people. There's no intelligence with these people. So like, the Donald Trump approach is just insulting them and making fun of them. They've started using those tactics, calling JD Vance weird. Last time I checked, weird is something out of the norm, and the norm would be the majority. The majority of people are normal humans who have families, who are fruitful and multiply. Those are the humans. They're not the transgender, bisexual. Let me adopt. Let me do some in vitro fertilization, crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And transgender humanism, all sorts of concoctions that have come up. You know what I mean? Birth control, fund the Planned Parenthood kind of stuff of that out there. No, 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 no. That's not the norm. Okay. So for
right.
them to call, the normies weird, you know what I mean? That's what this country and the humanity has devolved into.
Right,
Call the other person something negative. You know,
right.
we live in Philadelphia, right? The Negadelphia, just always seeing the negative of the other person, never seeing the
Right.
positive, right? And
Right. No,
that's what
yeah.
they do.
No, right. So I really think like your average family, no matter if they're voting for the Democrats or Republicans, they have their team, but really like people kind of want the same thing. They would like to get a nice job where they have a good salary, have a good house in a nice neighborhood, have friendly neighbors, have a good school for their kids, not have crime, the kids being able to get a good education and have a nice career and have families themselves. And I think if you look at the 8 billion people in the world, it's probably the majority of the 8 billion people, that's where they're at. But
Mom,
then,
dad, kid.
right, yeah. But then you have the media amplifying a very thin a minority of immorality, like super magnifying a super thin minority of immorality, trying to influence all these masses, trying to influence like the 8 billion people to accept that weird is good. And it's like they're really trying,
That weird is normal. That
right?
weird
Weird
is
is not
normal.
right, and normal is weird, right? That's really the game, right? So that's really
Yeah.
but let me get a little like, okay,
That's why you don't
yeah,
even pay attention. That's why
yeah,
you don't even have you don't even start a dialogue with these people. Just call it what it is. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a dialogue. You don't even take their points seriously
yeah.
because these aren't serious intellectuals who care about points. They care about winning. You know what I mean? And to them, the ends justify the means. The ends is them winning. They'll do anything to win. And that's what we talked about it before, like the rules for radicals, the Saul Alinsky playbook, do anything you can, be a rebel, you use all sorts of sneaky tactics to win. And because winning is the end goal, and that's it. And that's why they paint the other side as always bad. The other side is always Nazi. It's always fascist. It's always bad because people in their minds,
But
Nazi
both
and
but
fascist
both
is
sides,
bad.
but
So
both
they
sides, yeah,
not
but
both
both.
sides, not both sides.
Wait, hold
No,
on, hold on,
no,
hold
no,
on.
no,
Oh,
no, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, it's not both sides. Okay, it's the left is definitely taking the tactics of the Nazis and promulgating them. The right is not. The right is talking common sense. Okay, that don't even try both sides. No, it's not both sides. Okay, I don't hear crazy, wacky laws proposed by conservatives. You just don't. You don't. California has devolved into a hellhole. Okay, by lefty loonies. It's not because of the right. Okay, it's not because of common sense right principles. It's like, oh, defecating in the street. Oh, that's fine. It's a person's right to relieve themselves. That's normal. San Francisco and LA, yeah, that's normal. Homelessness, it's normal. That's good. We want everybody inclusiveness. Idiocy. You don't even say it's both sides. You don't even say that because that's what they want. They want you to say, "Oh, it's both sides, so I have legitimacy too," because it's both sides. No, it's not both sides.
okay. But back to so where we're at, like the Jewish people, like I really do. I think like Hashem's prodding us, waking us up, because we have to be ready. Like Hashem's not going to send Mashiach unless we're willing to listen and follow. Right? We have to be able to take advantage of a leader like that. And if we're not going to listen, we're not going to do, right? So if we're all just sitting around eating cheeseburgers, we're not ready to follow the Torah. We're not ready to follow the lofty spiritual, elevation of the Torah. We're kind of lost in La La Land. We're lost in this crazy, Alice in Wonderland existence. So let me just say one thing though about like what you were saying before. Right, what you're saying is also an amplification. Because I lived in California for 10 years. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth right now. It's physically beautiful. Everything on the outside, especially in Los Angeles, you got the most beautiful people from every state, moving there to be models and actors, right? So almost everywhere you look, everything's beautiful, right? You got the best looking people in the whole country, right? You got the most beautiful landscape and climate and so they don't always see it. So because you're in this kind of like paradise on the outside. Now spiritually it's very empty and shallow, and even though there's a big like drive, which is interesting for spirituality in California. But right, it's so and that's in a sense what's going on in the whole world. It's kind of this glossy social media outside, this quick. And if you look really on social media, like who like people can just be good looking on the outside, and people will tune in, and they can be saying total nonsense, but it's a visual age. It's the ultimate visual age. And what's interesting is when the Torah talks about beauty, what's fascinating is there's midrash. So I'll go to yeshiva a little bit. So it says like it says back in the ancient world, when a person's soul was beautiful on the inside, they were beautiful on the outside. So when it says Sarah was one of the most beautiful women, because her inside, her soul was one of the most beautiful. But now it's not like that. Just because someone's good looking on the outside doesn't mean they're a good person or a wise person. And it may really, in some ways, be quite the opposite nowadays. They can be
Yeah,
like a,
so
yeah.
yeah, the Zohar talks about that when the tree of life was beautiful on the inside and on the outside, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil could be beautiful on the outside and ugly on the inside.
Mm,
And that's what we're seeing, or vice versa, ugly on the outside, beautiful
yeah.
on the inside. That's
Yeah.
what we're seeing. It's a knowledge age, the age of knowledge, right? The promulgation, the well springs of information have been opened up, and so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing total opposites. Like what's on the inside is not matching what's on the outside.
Yeah. Okay, so that's right. So right, and it's crazy in a way because now Jewish people have access to 4,000 years of the information of the wisdom of the Torah, and people are lost in the secular, like just merry-go-round. So let's switch gear. Okay, switch gears a little bit to Israel. As much as I can't understand the political situation here, what's going on over there is mind-boggling to me. Okay, it's like there was just an article that said, I think it was in Israeli News 7, Israeli National News, that it was saying that like the IDF kind of like gave up on rescuing the hostages. And we were down to 10 minutes. They're like, "Oh, the rest of the hostages are just in civilian houses and in tunnels, so we can't rescue them." It's like, wait, time out. It's like 9 months going into 10 months. We all knew from the beginning that they're either in civilian houses or in tunnels. I thought that's the whole thing that you guys were doing. So you've blown up a lot of buildings. You made one deal. You rescued, like what, three hostages that one time, one the other time, and now you can't rescue anyone else. And it's been 9, 10 months. And what were you doing? Were you rescuing the hostages? Like, do you care about your Jewish people? Like, what is going on? And then this, and then this war with Iran. It's like Iran started this whole thing. They're financing Hamas. Maybe Hamas jumped the gun, maybe they didn't, who knows? And now, like, Israel took out, pew, pew, pew. They took out some big, like Ismail Khania and some other Hezbollah guy and this guy and that guy. And why are you waiting 9 months to
Yeah,
do this?
Yeah, you gotta be like a total like nitwit to not realize something funky is happening. Like I mean, I spoke about this everything first started. Like the plan, the modus operandi was wrong, but everybody's like was so gun ho. No, we got to get them. We got to do this. We got tote the party line. Yeah, everything's all good and fine, but you're not going about it the right way. These people set up tunnels, right? They set up a mechanism where they're going to trap you, right, into urban warfare, which you're not equipped to handle, and to do what the stated objective, quote unquote, is impossible with the tools that you have. And so when you speak to people logically in the beginning, the emotions are so high. No, we got to do it. We got to get them. We got to trust the people. We got to trust our IDF. We got to trust the politicians, and they know what they're doing, right? BS. They're the ones who got us into the mess in the first place, right? But no one wanted to hear that, right? People were so closed off. Now they're seeing, hey, it doesn't make sense. On the other side, right? Who's funding everything? And where's all this coming from? The directives we know are coming out of Iran, right? If you know your enemy's plotting against you and actively, funding and doing stuff against you, why are you waiting around? What are you waiting for? What are you playing defense for? How long can you play defense? You know what I mean? Before you knock out your enemy's capabilities. It's like two people in a bar fight. They get in each other's face.
Yeah.
One guy's gonna punch first. Like
Yeah.
if it's not you run the risk of getting knocked out and waking up in the hospital.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I see. I see since the situation is so absolutely insane, and I'll explain why. What I'm seeing is it's like Hashem's doing these things, waiting for our reaction, going, "Are you up yet?" No matter if it's the crazy political shenanigans here or in Israel. Like Hashem does saying, "Are you up yet?" And I'll give you an example. Like Iran launches like 300 ballistic missiles and drones. That in the old days was called an act of war, big time. Like not even close, right? And then supposedly there's like this backroom negotiation that Biden administration arranged that they would know from Iran where the missiles were coming, and then they shot them all down. And like, I don't even know. And now, right, there's supposed to be this big Iranian Hezbollah, Houthi, like massive invasion in Israel. And then they talked to the White House, and now it's like, are they waiting for Tisha B'Av? Is it just on hold? It's none of it makes sense. Like is Iran at war with Israel? Like when's the war starting? You've done many things to go over the line, both sides, to have a war, but then it's like, nah, it's like election season in America. We don't really want a war. We can't do a war during election season. So the only way I can see it is like Hashem is like jarring the Jewish people. Wake up already. Spit out the cheeseburger, be a Jew, wake up, and seeing how we react. And it's like, okay, we'll go back to the war now, or here's the war, or here's this, or here's this crazy political situation, or here we will completely embarrass Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, which they really need to win. And we're not picking him because he's Jewish, but we still want your vote. And look, hey, we did the event for this crazy Walls guy in Pennsylvania. And totally embarrassed Josh Shapiro. Like, yay! Don't you love us, Jewish people? And when are people gonna like just wake up? I know it's like such a cliche now, but like, wow.
Well, if you pull up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what
Yeah.
I mean, they've lulled the people into worrying about the safety, the lower rungs of the hierarchy of needs, and which is safety, physical, you know uh, needs that are around you, not worrying about like anything beyond the immediate physical gratification, physical comfort, physical urge. You know what I mean? And then people are just like, leave me alone already. Like let me sleep through, walk through life. Go on my vacations, enjoy the great foods of this world, enjoy the great sexual pleasures of this world, and leave me alone. They don't want to. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear like grand schemes and grand plans, and anybody who's thwarting their plans to the goodness that this world has to offer. And that's it. I mean, are they sleeping? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, look, I understand what it's like, but it's just like from my perspective, it's like the whole "I'm not religious" excuse. It's just getting old, and I don't know how much longer you're going to get away with it because they're
but
coming in.
it's
Yeah, but they're coming
but
and screaming at Jews from all sides now, even in America
oh,
here.
right,
Yeah.
right. So if a Jew was like smart, like, okay, well, they're hating me anyway. So what are they hating me for? I'm not acting Jewish, I'm not being Jewish. So maybe I should look into it and then let them hate me for what I really am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let them give a reason for it to actually hate you. You know what I mean? But it goes beyond that. They, you know, on a deeper level, they're not hating you because you're acting Jewish or you're going to yeshiva, you're keeping the commandments. They're hating you because you're not acting Jewish. They're
Yeah.
hating you because you're acting like them, and
Yeah.
you're outdoing them in their world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're outdoing them in their world, and you're taking over their job. You know, and that's why they hate you. They don't hate you because you're going and putting on tefillin and keeping Shabbat. That's not
Yeah.
what's happening. You know what I
No, I
mean?
mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's funny because, right, like I don't think, Jewish people that are a little more secular, they realize this, but like if you go to yeshiva, you go to shul, like the people at the yeshiva and the shul are not going to be anti-Semitic, because they're all Jewish. It's like, so you really get it the more you're out there in public interacting with people out there that don't like Jews, and just they're, and I disagree with you, they are in the right, but I will agree with you that they're not actively trying to hurt Jews right now. They're not in mass trying to hurt Jews right now. I agree with you
No,
on
and
that.
who quote unquote supports Israel, right? The
Yeah.
evangelicals and all that stuff, right?
But
Like,
they,
come
but
on.
they, but they think, we're all they're going to get raptured, and and then there's going to be
Listen, that
144,000
they're not
Meshuggahs that accept, JC.
they're not in the Ivy League schools, burning Israeli flags and saying kill the Jew
Yeah, yeah,
and running down Jewish students and locking them in libraries. They're not doing that.
I
You know what I
hear.
mean?
Yeah,
The burning of the flags, the use of fire is not from the right side. Okay,
yeah,
that's a stupid left talking point that gives legitimacy to what they what
yeah.
the nastiness that they're doing. Oh, so everybody's doing it, so it's okay. It's all right. It's
I
fine.
mean,
Everybody's doing it.
from our perspective, this is like so early 2000s. Like we were there during the second Intifada. Like we've seen this going on for a year. No, but now everyone's catching up. Now you get it yet? You get it? You get what's going on over there in Israel? You get it yet? Like your lovely, cuddly Palestinians, they're yelling, "Jew, go back to Poland." We're
That
under
that
two.
that
Yeah,
yeah.
we're about like a minute, a little over a minute. So
We went all over the place today, but just to sum it up real quick, like if you're looking at Israel, like the common misconception is that the Arabs and the Jews are the same, and it's just like an ongoing war. It's not. The Jews over there, at least, they just leave us alone. Let us live life. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the Arabs over there are just like get out of here with this. We are the overlords, and you guys are the peasants. And until that changes, nothing's going to change. We're at war with you.
yeah,
And anybody who thinks otherwise is just like being misled by the Western propaganda.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Give us your comments. We hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah and the Gates of Mordecai. All the best.